Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I'm going to make a soup. And I know that it's August and if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's probably pretty hot where you are, and soup is the farthest thing from your brain. For the most part, mine too. But like I mentioned in a previous video, we were in Mexico a couple of weeks ago. I had emergency dental surgery to remove a tooth. The dentist really wrenched on my jaw, and while I can open it to speak, I can barely get it open, and I'm having difficulty eating. Soup is going to be very easy to eat. So we're going to make a chicken and wild rice soup. Wild rice, if you live outside of the northern part of the United States or Canada, you probably don't know what wild rice is. It's this stuff right here. And it's not actually rice, it is grass that grows in the shallows of a lot of lakes around here. And it has this really, really kind of wild, nutty flavor. And it is something that's been harvested for millennia by the First Nations people of North America, Canada, and the United States, and is still to this day harvested by First Nations people. Growing up, my family had an island in Rice Lake, which is not too far from where I currently live. And in that lake, called Rice Lake, because in the shallows, wild rice grew. And when I was a little kid, there were still people out there harvesting the rice. And the way you harvest it is you take your canoe through the shallows, and with two sticks, you bring the top of the rice pods over top of the canoe, and you knock the seed off of the rice. It's actually a grass. But anyway, so you knock it off into the bottom of the canoe, and that's the traditional way of harvesting it. Still done that way in some places, but now it's probably pretty highly mechanized if you're buying it in the grocery store. So I put an onion in the bottom of this pot. I'm going to add to that celery and carrot, and we're just going to saute that off to soften them up. And we're not really looking for any browning. We just want to lose some moisture and soften them. Because we're not looking for any browning at all, this soup is perfectly suited to a slow cooker or crock pot. Something that you can put on in the morning, go to work, let it simmer away all day in the crock pot, and come home to a fantastic pot of soup. So that has broken down a little bit. So I've got some mushroom, diced up pretty small, but you know, we're going to cook these mushrooms until most of the moisture is gone, and they're going to shrink down quite a bit. You could use any mushroom that you like. I'm a big advocate of, when you're standing in the grocery store looking at fresh mushrooms, look at the crimini and the button mushrooms that you always want to buy, and then buy one of the other ones, the ones that you don't know about. There are some fantastic nutty flavors in other mushrooms that just isn't present in a button mushroom or a crimini mushroom. And a really funky flavored mushroom goes really well with wild rice. When I was a kid growing up on that island, we'd get puffballs in the summertime. Puffballs, which is a mushroom that is what it sounds like. It's a puff ball of mushroom. Some of them are this big. Puffballs and wild rice. Match made in heaven. Absolutely incredible. At this point, I'm going to add some fresh ground pepper. Now, I'm not going to add any salt yet. Salt, as in every recipe, is to taste. So I will taste it once I get the whole thing brought together. The reason I'm not adding salt right away is depends how salty your chicken stock is that we're going to add to this, or vegetable stock for that matter. If you want to add vegetable stock, that would work really well as well. So I want to taste it all together before I add any salt, because I don't want it to be too salty. So that's coming together really nicely. Next, we're going to talk about the chicken. So here in this bowl, I've got 6 chicken thighs. I've taken the skin off the thighs, put them on this tray on this rack, and salted them. They've been sitting in the fridge for a couple hours now, salted. And the oven's hot. So I've got the oven preheated to 450 degrees on convection. I'm going to stick the skin in here and let it go until it's nice golden and crispy. The chicken itself, 6 thighs, taking them off the bone and chop the chicken up into spoon-sized pieces. The bones are here as well, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick all of this in the pot, and we're going to start cooking the chicken, and we're going to leave the bones in until we serve, so that as we simmer the soup, we're getting all of the flavor out of the bones. You could also stick the bones in the freezer, like I do, in order to make stock at some future date. You get enough of them and you make chicken stock. But in this instance, I'm going to throw them in here and get all the flavor out into this soup. So as we're cooking this, I'm not worried at this point about cooking the chicken all the way through. This is a soup. It's going to simmer for quite some time. Just kind of starting it up. Okay, so now I've got tarragon and summer savory, a couple of bay leaves, in goes the wild rice. Now I've rinsed the wild rice, and I've got some basmati. I've rinsed that as well. Put those in. I like the juxtaposition of the wild rice with a standard basmati rice, or standard any white rice. Any brown rice would work. Any rice that you like would work in addition to the wild rice. I'll just stir that in and put in the chicken stock. There we go. Give it a stir. So I'm going to bring this to a simmer. Then I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to let it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour, and it will be ready to eat at that point. Okay, so done with the squash muffins.
So time for soup?
Time for soup.
Okay, I'll get a spoon. One more, anyway. There we go.
Quick.
Oh, quick tidy.
Quick cleanup.
Don't look.
And reset.
There's tidying to do.
Okay, done with the Toronto Queen City of Canada cookbook.
Do we have a bowl?
We have bowls.
Oh,
Yes,
there they are.
we have bowls. We also have
Fried chicken skin?
chicken skin.
Is this your attempt at pork rinds? Except chicken?
Yeah, I mean it is essentially just like pork rinds, except
Okay,
it's,
so they
it's
all got to
chicken
see my face.
Except it's chicken
As
skin.
I kind of cringed because I'm not a big fan of pork rinds, so I don't know why I would want chicken rinds.
Now I haven't had a chance to pull the chicken bones out, so there might be bone. Well,
None of that, right there.
there we go. Got rid of the bones. Little taste of a bowl of soup for you. Of course, you want to take the chicken bones out before you serve it. You also want to pull out the bay leaves before you serve it, because no one likes to get a bay leaf in their mouth.
No, because in some households, apparently that means you do the dishes.
You do the dishes.
I don't understand these things coming from such a small family, but you know.
And you could garnish it nicely with a piece of chicken skin. Julie's
I'm saying
like,
that's
no.
not a nice garnish.
No. Okay.
It's not for me anyway. Okay, there's a slightly different flavor in there, though. What is it?
Tarragon.
Ah,
Yeah. Tarragon. I think tarragon goes really well with wild rice. Mm-hmm. If you don't like tarragon, leave it out. Put in one of the other chicken spices that always go with chicken. And there's lots of those.
it's a very pleasant soup.
I think it's better than pleasant. Personally, I think it's better than pleasant. I could really, I've got a whole pot to eat, and I'm very happy with this. So, the basmati rice that I put in, you could cut that back a little bit because it does thicken the soup. Or you could leave it out completely and just have the wild rice. This is
Pot,
good.
though. Straight out the pot.
Okay, chicken and wild rice soup. I give it 2 thumbs up. Julie says it's pleasant.
It's pleasant.
Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.